Good morning. This is Dr. Rajesh Mehra coming to you from a very famous Afghan restaurant, and I'm honored that you have decided to beam us into your homes this morning. I'm honored, privileged, and utterly thrilled to have beside me one of the greatest souls on this earth, Mr. Kuldip Nair. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I know that you have a very busy schedule, and you are here in Washington, I believe, attending a conference.
Yes.
What is the conference about?
Well, the conference is the status of Kashmir. What should we do about it? There are people from Pakistan, from India, some Americans, because after all this has been there for so many years. So can we reach a consensus? Can we arrive at some kind of possible solution? So we are going to try that.
Try that out, right? If we can solve that problem, we've solved half of Earth's misery, right?
Yes, more than that.
Yes, I'm going to come back to that. But before that, I want to ask you something. You have been honored with so many awards. You have written probably 12 to 15 books or more, umpteen number of articles and journals. And I know you're working on your autobiography as we discussed, but what is it that now you want to attain? What is one thing left that you would like to attain and see happen in your life as a personal achievement?
Well, I have been trying my best to see that the relations between India and Pakistan normalize. Will I see that thing happening in my life? That's one.
It's possible.
Other thing which I have been very much trying and working hard, that we establish in India secularism, pluralism, whatever we call, and democracy in the real sense.
Right.
Where it doesn't mean that a rich man will get elected, and where it wouldn't mean that that the majority will always be in ruling. So I'm hoping that in my lifetime,
that would be a goal.
Because when I came from Pakistan and I crossed into India, that was 13th September 1947. That was the morning of my life. Now, in the evening of my life, I wonder where my dreams have gone. One of the dreams was that the new India which we are going to build, there will be no one killed in the name of religion or caste. There will be no poverty. There will be no exploitation. I know as a young man, idealism, all these things. But I hope we are able to achieve part of it. We have achieved a bit. I recall that when I was India's High Commissioner at London, Mrs. Thatcher was the Prime Minister. Mrs. Thatcher had gone to Moscow, returned, and I met her at a party. And I said, Madam Prime Minister, how is Mr. Gorbachev? She said, Gorbachev says, how does he keep the country together? It's slipping from his hands. She said, I told him, go to India and see how for centuries different religions, different castes, different regions, different languages, different standards of living, how they have kept the country together. And then she turned towards me and said, Mr. High Commissioner, what do you attribute to? Suddenly this question coming. And I told her, I said, in India, we do not think things are either black or white. We think there is a gray area. And we go on expanding that gray area. That's pluralism. And one thing which really is the gum which keeps it together, that is the pin, that is sense of toleration, spirit of accommodation. I think in India, whatever may be said, whatever may be its limitations, whatever may be its faults, I think still most people in my country believe in this sense of tolerance and spirit of accommodation. And we have been able to keep the nation
for centuries,
I know.
Well, that's a very noble dream, and I'm sure as all young people, you had that dream, and I hope that that comes true, but we know in reality that we're inching towards it, but we're far away from it.
Yes.
Having said that, all great things happen in small baby steps, don't they? So I hope that will happen. On a personal note, which a lot of people don't know, they know you as the writer, as the philosopher, as all of that. How did you end up in journalism? I know in speaking to you earlier in our conversation, most of your family are physicians. And how did you become a journalist?
Well, I wasn't, I did law in Lahore, and my idea was to settle down in Sialkot city, my hometown, and start practice, legal practice. But this partition took place, and so suddenly you found that you are now penniless.
Right.
My mother had given me 120 rupees when I left my home, but that didn't last too long. So I was looking for.
And she said, "Go to India." I mean,
yeah, no, all of us were, coming to India. But then our purpose, idea was to look here. When things settle down, we shall go back. But there was no going back.
Right.
But anyway, so I was now looking for a job. I didn't want a clerical job. Oh no, I said. Then somebody told me there was a job in an Urdu paper. I knew Urdu and Persian very well. I had graduated in Persian. So here was a Muslim League paper owned by a Muslim. He was looking for a Hindu who knew Urdu. So I probably fitted in the bill, and so he gave me the job and also told me to teach his two children mathematics and English, which I had to do. And anyway, that was the start
of your journalistic career.
So I still remember the name of the paper was Anjam. Anjam is the end.
Right.
So I always say that I started my journalism from the end.
From the end, the beginning, the end, and the beginning.
Agaz Anjam se kiya.
Wow.
So that and then I.
Then you took off.
Then I thought that Urdu journalism didn't have much future. Any language journalism didn't have at that time its look, but in Urdu journalism. So I resigned and I came to America.
I believe at Northwest.
Medill School of Journalism.
Right.
I got the degree, but I worked my way through, served on the tables, raked lawns, washed windows, all these things. And
worked hard.
And then I was on the right path.
On the right path.
And if today somebody, if the God were to say, the Almighty, that you care, all right, I take you back to 1947, what would you be? A lawyer?
Or a journalist?
Oh, journalist any day. Because I can tell you, Dr. Saab, sincerely, that I have not written anything in which I have not believed.
Oh, beautiful.
And no prize or price has
determined that.
And that's the reason that during the emergency, Mrs. Gandhi detained me also. But
that's fine. That's part of, and that's the reason for your success.
Well,
because you've written from the heart, and not because somebody said we'll pay you this much to write an article. Let me ask you another sort of a personal question. And the reason I'm asking you that is because everybody already knows everything else. We can Google you, right, these days, and bring up your name and see all the 100 awards. What would you say is the highlight of your career? What has made you the most excited? You know, what award, what book, or what happening in your life has made you kind of like, wow, this is the big thing? That's a tough question, right?
Yes. Well, see, what made impact on me But not so much partition. Of course, partition
Right,
did.
right. That was a big
yes,
event.
But I think the emergency, when I saw that that in my country this press has been censored,
Everything was controlled.
and this light of independence was snuffed. So all these things, I think that really, I can say that had the greatest impact on my life. And I said, and this you only realize after you have lost the democracy, that how important it is for us to have independent judiciary, independent press, and independent executive, of course.
Right. It's like everything else, you don't realize what you have till you lose it, especially government and especially the freedom to walk around or do what you want to do. Now, I know that time is important for us, and I want to sort of ask you a last question. I know you've been working on your autobiography, which, how is the status and how is that coming along?
Well, I have finished the first draft, and I think when I go back, I shall work on it, and I hope to bring it out by the end of the year.
End of the year, excellent.
Yes.
Well, our viewers are thrilled that you have joined us, and I'd like for you to give us a last parting message as to what should we do in the United States of America? What is it we can do to sort of help our motherland, which is far from us, but we need to be involved and stay connected?
Well, I personally think that I'm nobody really to give you advice, but one thing is that you should understand what's happening in India. Don't get disheartened, don't get disappointed. Here is a country of 1 billion people, of different religions, communities, regions, languages, trying to become one nation, one country. It takes time. There would be lots of faults, I know. As our rulers, as I was telling you, that it's very important that politicians, whoever joins politics, has some idealism. What I am here for, to serve my country, to serve the nation, to see that there's so much hunger and poverty in the country. How do we remove it quickly? How do we see that every opportunity is given to all the people without any caste, religion, anything like that? With one couplet, I would like to end it.
Absolutely.
Yes, that is, and this is, I would say, the rulers who are there, as I was telling you, that I personally think that we, initially we got very good rulers, but then we have got those people who have strayed from the path. So I am just saying that तू इधर उधर की ना बात कर, ये बता कि कारवां क्यों लूटा, मुझे राजनों से गिला नहीं, तेरी राबरी का सवाल था. Meaning thereby that I want to ask you that why this caravan, how did it get looted, how was it disrupted? He said, I'm not really blaming the dacoits, I'm not blaming the thieves, I'm not blaming whose job is that, razanon ka. The question was of your leadership, Rabri. You have failed in the leadership.
The protection of the caravan. Protection.
And the leadership.
And the leadership, right. Well, all these words of wisdom and all the knowledge, we could go on and spend the next few hours. Hopefully, you'll visit us again in Washington,
yes, sure,
and we would love to have you again. Thank you so much for joining us and your precious time. Thank you.